All right. Welcome to Blue Pill Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is Saturday, September 20th, 2025. Today we are going to be doing a game review. As far as updates, today is a busy day. So, I told you guys, White Rabbit, I was going to scrap it. Today I finally got up at a decent hour on weekend because here lately, man, it's always an issue for me. I work 5 days in a row, 40 hours a week, and every Friday night I find myself feeling like a little child the night before Christmas, not being able to go to sleep because I'm excited to have 2 days off. But last night, I actually went to bed, somehow tricked my brain to be like, okay, go to sleep. Went to bed at a decent hour, and, hang on. And, got up early. So, White Rabbit, the Conspiracy Mobile, is getting scrapped. I'm going to make $285. I figured, honestly, man, I guess I'm pretty good at, how much I thought it would be worth. I figured I'd get around $300. I was hoping for $400 or $500, but that ain't gonna happen. It's a 97, so I think the guy said it's 28 years old, unless my math is wrong in my remembering. So I'm gonna get that scrapped hopefully today. If not tomorrow. Me and Sammy are going on a date today, and it's channel related. We're going to be seeing the new Conjuring movie, so if you guys are interested in the paranormal, if you're a Conspiracy Corner fan, this is Blue Pill Podcast, but if you are a Conspiracy Corner fan, look forward to that, because when we come home, I'm going to do a movie review, either by myself or with Sammy, talking about it. We do have a Warrens playlist about the Ed and Lorraine Warren and anything related to them. Go check it out. We're reviewing Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets. So I've already done a review on Harry Potter, the first one, Sorcerer's Stone, for Game Boy Color. This one is for Game Boy Color also. So go check out that review if you're interested. I'm going to create a playlist for all the Harry Potter games for the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. So this year I picked up a Game Boy Advanced. So we moved from our original apartment, and we don't have the space for like my old video game systems and stuff, because I have a Sega Genesis, I have a PS2, Xbox One, which is in the living room, so I am able to play that. But I wanted to get into gaming. Usually I've noticed when I first moved here, I was going through some stuff like loss of employment, some legal issues. And anytime I've ever went through, like, especially legal issues, like a divorce back in the day, I became a gamer. Anytime I was going through some shit. For some reason, it's always been a really good therapy for me. I'm sure it's like that with a lot of people. To just kind of leave this world and go into another. Blue pill, essentially. So, I've been on this, like, year-long adventure of going through the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance library. So my most recent little adventure was the Zelda games for those three systems. And I played through all of them, every title on those three systems, and beat almost all of them. I have a whole playlist. You can go check it out if you're a fan of Zelda. And I picked up Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone in April of this year and beat it. And after my little Zelda escapade, I went to the game store and I was like, okay, let's find something. I was originally gonna go there hoping to get Ghost Rider, which I will play in the future, so look forward to that. And I found Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets for Game Boy Color. And there's a reason I keep reiterating that. And I found Prisoner of Azkaban, and they were both like $15, somewhere around there. And I'm like, yep, I'm getting both of these today. So the reason I keep reiterating Game Boy Color compared to why I keep reiterating that these are both Game Boy Color. Here's the cart. Because the Game Boy Color, Harry Potter 1 and 2 Game Boy Color, are RPGs. And that's the one that I actually prefer. The Game Boy, I don't know if it was something with EA. I don't know why they made the Game Boy Color versions RPGs, and then they made Game Boy Advance versions of Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. But the Game Boy Advance version of Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets are action adventure, which I don't mind. But if you guys know, I've always talked about Final Fantasy on this channel, of like, that's my favorite game series ever. I used to be a huge Final Fantasy nerd. It's in storage right now, but I have like a stack of Final Fantasy game. It's probably worth thousands of dollars, you know. So, yeah, I prefer the Game Boy Color. And a lot of people are like, why do you get the Game Boy Color version? And why don't you get Game Boy Advance? Because it's better graphics. I'm like, because it's action adventure. These are RPGs. This is turn-based action. So we're going to be talking about Harry Potter 1 also a lot. I'm not going to do obviously, I'm not going to keep it pretty simple, because I already did a review on Harry Potter 1, but there is some relation to it. Also, just a little heads up, I did a Harry Potter book reviews. I reviewed 3 different Harry Potter books. It was a new podcast that I put out. I'll put it in the link below if you're listening on Spotify, but you can check it out on YouTube if you're on YouTube. It's not too many episodes back. I did it like earlier this week. So, hang on. First thing I want to say is the length of Harry Potter 1, the Game Boy Color game, is very short, and it actually kind of made me sad. Like, for one, the beginning of the game, you literally start out in Diagon Alley. Like, all the first several chapters are gone. Like, and that would have been kind of cool. They just start you off right in Diagon Alley with Hagrid. I thought that was kind of lame, because it took out a large chunk of the game. I do understand, though. I'm not sure if hang on just a second, if Harry Potter 1 was EA or not. Let's find out. Yeah, it was EA Games. And maybe they just didn't have like a proper budget, because from what I heard, the Harry Potter 1 game was created while they were filming the movie. So it's a little weird. It's a little different from the movie. So I can't remember if the Harry Potter 1 game was WB or not. This one is WB, Chamber of Secrets. So it's weird. So like, one thing that you'll notice is like the characters' faces. Some of the characters' faces look like the actor or actresses. The music is like similar to Harry Potter, but it's not licensed. So it's not actually the Harry Potter theme song. It's kind of weird. So it's like, it's made by WB. So you would think that they would have the rights to the music, but I guess maybe they have the rights to certain things, but not other things. Because every song in this game feels like Harry Potter. But it feels like, I guess like if you're a content creator, like kind of like stock music of like, just like witchy, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna type in stock music, witchy Harry Potter, you know. It's like it's super close to Harry Potter, but it's not actually Harry Potter music. So that was interesting. And I've noticed that with the 3 Harry Potters that I've played and am playing right now. So I'm playing Azkaban for Game Boy Advance, and I'm playing Chamber of Secrets. I'm literally on the last boss. Hence why I'm doing the review, because I want it fresh on my mind. Um, like I said, you notice that the characters almost look like the actors, but like they can't make it look exactly like them. The music is almost there. It's interesting. It's weird. But back to what I was saying about the length of this game. So Harry Potter 1 was super short. And there was grinding on certain points, but it wasn't overwhelmingly super bad grinding. Which, if you guys know, I've talked about this in multiple other game reviews, is I'm a big fan of grinding. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. It does not bother me to grind. I actually kind of enjoy it. I'm a weirdo. So this game, I feel like, is even shorter than the first Harry Potter. Like, I think the first Harry Potter, it was like 15, 20 hours to beat the game. And I think on this one, I'm only like 10 hours in. I could be wrong. I'll have to double check. But it feels like I honestly, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like this game is probably like half the length of the first Harry Potter game, which is like a super short game, especially for RPG. But here's the thing though. They did what a lot of old school gamers, like I'm a boomer, I'm a 90s kid. If you guys remember, I grew up on Nintendo and Super Nintendo and shit. So they didn't have a lot of capabilities to make games super long back then. So what they did was, and this also ties in with games being rental games. It reminds me of this style of development. They wanted to make people, here's an example, Echo the Dolphin. So Echo the Dolphin is like, honestly, a super short game if the difficulty was easier. And it's like one of the hardest games ever. And the creator of it says, basically, he made it super hard because he didn't want kids renting it and beating it in one weekend. He wanted kids to like play it, struggle, and keep coming back and keep renting the game, which I get it. But he kind of broke the game. He made it too hard. So this game is not too hard because it's achievable. Because you just got to do a shit ton of grinding, is the thing. So if you don't mind grinding, you'll like it. But Aragog in this game is ridiculous. I literally grinded for, I'm talking like a week. And I mean, like, I would come home and play for like 2 or 3 hours, like for a week, to beat this motherfucker. And what it is, for one, is like, this game felt very storybookish. Like, there's a shit ton of dialogue, which doesn't bother me. I'm a big fan of like Final Fantasy X, which is like, if you guys have ever played that, you know what I'm talking about. It's a shit ton of dialogue. It's like essentially a storybook with a battle here and there. So yeah, that doesn't bother me. And honestly, this felt like a storybook. This honestly felt like mostly a storybook with random battles here and there. So the random encounters, I feel like, are a lot less than Harry Potter 1. Hang on. That's Horace, my cat, destroying shit. That's that noise in the background. Hang on, dude. So my advice to you, if you're playing this game, because usually what I'll do with the Harry Potter games is, like, yes, there's random encounters, the enemy will randomly appear, but you can see the enemy so you can dodge it. Usually my style of gameplay would be, I'm not going to sit there and I'm going to try to dodge random encounters. but I'm not going to like wait for them to disappear. I'm not scared of random encounters. If it happens, it happens. Um, that's my style of gameplay, and I'm so with this one particularly. Anytime an enemy pops up, I would purposely fight them the next time around that I'm playing it. So like if you're playing this for the first time, purposely battle every random encounter that pops up, because it'll save you a lot of grinding later on when you have to fight Aragog. Aragog was the most ridiculous of grinding. So partially it was my fault too though. I felt like with Sorcerer's Stone, I did feel like they kind of gave you like a tutorial. If I remember correctly, I believe there was kind of like tutorials of how the game works. This one, I think they already expected you to have played and beaten the first one, so they didn't really have like a tutorial. They didn't really tell you how the game worked. Luckily, I had already played the first one. So they just kind of throw you in, and then here you go. Which is fine, because I had already played the first one. I already knew how to play the game, but I hadn't played it since April, and it's September. So there was some things I forgot. So like I didn't realize that there was 2 levels to the spells. So like I'm doing all level 1 spells, and one day I just accidentally hit the down button in the middle of a battle, and there's like 3 or 4 more spells. I'm like, and I unlocked 2 of them, like, and I'd used one of them on Aragog, and it took down like a huge chunk. I'm like, holy shit. So like, honestly, half of that grinding to beat Aragog, I probably did for no reason. But I don't know. And I noticed at the very beginning of the game, that the difficulty was ramped up compared to Sorcerer's Stone. I felt like Sorcerer's Stone was like the perfect difficulty. It wasn't too hard, and it wasn't too easy. And it had just the very perfect amount of grinding. It literally almost was a perfect game. I don't remember the score I gave on it, but it was probably like a 9 out of 10, or I would think it was probably a 9 out of 10. But this one, I don't know if they got complaints, or the developers thought that the Sorcerer's Stone was too easy, or they thought maybe that like the kids were growing up with the games and the books, so they're like, now they're gonna be older, let's push up the ante a little bit. But yeah. So one thing I noticed was like Sorcerer's Stone had a lot more non-canonical side quest stuff. So this game was shorter, but I felt like this game, they stuck more to the book. I really don't remember. I think there's like one mini game that's like non-canonical. Maybe one side quest that's like not in the books. The first one, I felt like it was more random side quests that are not in the books, which doesn't bother me, because I get it, like, that it's kind of hard to make something exactly like the books. This one, actually, I felt like they did a really good job. So if you're like obsessive about that, of like lore and like the world J.K. Rowling created, you'll like this one better than the first one if you're obsessed with canon, because there's not like extra side quests that are non-canonical. The first one, I felt like, had a lot of non-canonical side quests. I'm like, which doesn't bother me. Like I said, like I was a fan of like the Series of Unfortunate Events video game that I did a review on for Game Boy Advanced, which is like, honestly, all of it is pretty much non-canonical, because it's based off the movie. I mean, it's like loosely based off the books, but if you read the books, it's like, yeah, I mean, I understand why they made the game super non-canonical, you know? But that's to be expected with anything. When literature becomes a movie, and then the movie becomes a game, it's to be expected, you know? But yeah, so I mean, it's like super close to the book. Like it's almost exact to the book. So if you're a big Potterhead, you'll like it. Mini games. So I love this feature about um, the first Sorcerer's Stone, and they kept this feature going, was the mini games. And I'm playing Azkaban right now also, and um, Azkaban is basically essentially the last hurrah for the RPG. Um, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, or I mean Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced, RPG, Harry Potter's. Like this is it. Um, the next two, which are the last two, are not RPGs. They're action adventure. Um, so, and I kind of understand why they went that direction because they don't want to keep the same formula. Um, and I'm cool with it because honestly, the first three are RPGs, which I love RPGs, but I do like action adventure. I mean, I played through the whole Zelda series, you know. Um, so it will be kind of cool to have a switch up of formula. It'll be a nice little break. Um, but one thing that I do like is they kept the mini game concept. So like, there's a uh, obviously, you get rescued from your apartment. This one actually, unlike Sorcerer's Stone, starts out at the beginning of the book, which is a good thing. It's a fix to me. That really bummed me out with Sorcerer's Stone, that they just started in Diagon Alley. I'm like, oh, wait, I wanted all that other stuff. Like, I'm a storybook nerd, you know? So, like, when you get picked up by Ron in the flying car, immediately you're thrown into, like, a mini game of, like, an above, almost like a Galaga. But you're not shooting, you're just dodging, like, obstacles and stuff and trying to survive. So that was fun. There's, like, a Candy Crush style game. Dumbledore comes in during one of the holidays at a feast, and he's like, hey, I invented a new game. Let's play this new game, you know, so you play that. There was when you go to Ron's house after the flying car, you get to Ron's house, and this is canonical. In the book, like, I remember Mrs. Weasley's like, hey, Harry, Ron, go outside and get rid of the gnome. So they made it into a mini game, which was fun, where you have to, like, spin around and throw the gnome as far as you can over the fence. It was just fun. And in Quidditch, like, you do have, like, 2 or 3 Quidditch matches, if not practices, to where it's like a side view flying game. It kind of reminded me of, like, Wings of Fury, which is obviously an obscure reference, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Or SNES Rocketeer, kind of like that, of, like, just like side scroll flying game, but like not like side scroll as far as like this level, the start of the level, end of the level, more like boundaries, but you go back and forth. So that was kind of neat. One thing that I liked about this with the mini games that you don't get in games often. So some of the mini games would tie in with, well, I mean, they all tied in with the story, but like, one thing that I liked is because some of the mini games I was really good at, I was amazing at, and in some of them I sucked at. But if you like happen to suck at the mini game, you can, when the mini game is over, it'll ask you, do you want to retry or quit? You can quit and still continue the game. So I've always hated that on video. Well, I mean, I like that, but what I just said, but I've always hated in video games when you're playing a game and, like Zelda, for instance, like there's certain parts of Zelda where you have to beat a mini game, especially the Oracle of Ages, for example. There's like a dance sequence or like something. Yeah, I think it was a dance sequence you have to beat. And it's almost like DDR but with a control pad for Game Boy Color, and you have to beat it to progress through the game. And it's super frustrating. There's several mini games in Oracle of Ages that you have to beat to progress, and it's aggravating to me because it's like it's completely different from the main style of the game, and to make it like a requirement, like you have to fucking beat this mini game to further in the game, is aggravating to me because like I feel like as an old man, one day in the future, I would switch to more. I would still play video games. Like, if let's say I actually make it to the age of like 70 or 80, I feel like I'll still be playing video games, but I will switch more to the style of like RPGs, like turn-based, because anyone who's old could actually play RPGs. Like, essentially, you're just walking around, and battles are all turn-based, so you can like put down the controller, and you're old, you're feeble, you could still play RPGs. So I don't know, I just think about things like that sometimes, of like, well, and this game's geared towards like kids. Obviously, it's Harry Potter. I mean, there's adult Potterheads like myself, but it's geared towards children essentially. At the end of the day, you know. So it is nice that they're like, hey, if you don't beat this mini game, like, it's okay. You can still play the game further. So the music on this game, dude, I do have to say this, man. Just like Sorcerer's Stone, they fucking nailed it. Obviously, the intro was my favorite song from the game. It's When You Meet Tom Riddle. So, as I said earlier, it has a feeling of Harry Potter. But like almost like a rip-off, non-licensed Harry Potter rip-off. Even though it's a Harry Potter game, it's really weird. And I don't mean rip-off in a derogatory way, because the music is excellent. It almost reminds, my wife she wasn't even playing the game, but I would be sitting next to her, and playing the game, she would start humming the songs, and like, I don't know who the composer is. I'll have to look it up in the credits, but props to you, dude, because the music would get stuck in my head. It's super catchy. It's super easy to like memorize the notes, but like it felt like it was Harry Potter-esque, but it also felt like, especially during the battles to me felt like old school SNES style bit music of like old RPGs that I grew up on, like Final Fantasy VI, aka Final Fantasy 3, you know, Mystic Quest, Shining Force, you know. Yeah, it fucking like got you amped up. So one big thing, dude, that I have to bring up, like this is probably the biggest fucking thing of the game. Harry Potter 1 Sorcerer's Stone, it drove me nuts because you would have, like, obviously the main three characters, protagonists, are Harry, Hermione, and Ron. And I remember playing the first Sorcerer's Stone game, and I was like, why is it that every battle it's just Harry? And I was like, I don't know if the developers, like, this was their first RPG, the team or whatever, this was their first RPG ever created, but I was like, homie, where's Hermione and Ron, dude? Like, they should automatically be in battle with you. Harry was solo the entire Sorcerer's Stone game. It was really weird. So on this one, immediately, it's Harry, Ron, and Hermione. You have, like, cameo partners in the game, like, Fox at one point. Yeah. So they obviously fixed that, and I was like, oh, thank God. But that was my biggest beef. Well, not my biggest, but that was one of my beefs with the first one. I was like, why the hell is Harry fighting alone this entire game? So that's kind of nice that you got a party of three. Like a classic RPG. Like, to me, that was common sense of RPGs of like, yeah, dude, you got to have two partners, at least. Even one partner, even like a duet, you know, but we'll wrap it up there. So I do like this game. It is a good game. Don't get me wrong. it was nowhere near as good as Sorcerer's Stone. The difficulty was too high. The grinding was ridiculous. It feels way too short. Not enough random encounters. The music was good, just as good as the first one. And I do like I said, that they added that you actually have a party now. You know, that's cool. But I have to give this game, I'd say a 7.5 out of 10. I think I gave the first one a 9 out of 10, but this one is not as good as Sorcerer's Stone. If you have to choose between one or the other, first of all, I'd say play all of them for Game Boy Advanced and Game Boy Color, because it'd be fun to just play. You might as well play through the whole series, but if you have to choose between this or the first one, choose the first one. But yeah, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. But that's all she wrote. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to donate $1 or something to help the channel, donate to buymeacoffee.com.